Hi everyone, welcome. This is Karthik from iTeLearn. Thank you so much for joining the JPACT training, a new batch. We are in the 8th batch of this job placement, job placement and certified training. So what that primarily means, team, is we do about 2 to 3 batches each year for JPACT. So we've been doing this for the last 4 years now, team, and this is our 8th batch. With typically a JPACT batch has about anywhere between 40 to 70 students, team, and these are major training batches which do an end-to-end program where, unlike Udemy or YouTube or just video watching, you're taking through your career options. So we'll talk a little bit about JPACT. What is this 8th batch going to do? How you could be a part of this structured programming and how we can take it forward. So a lot of this team is common with what we do as training, but this is focused purely in the software testing arena. That is what the primary goal is. So if you're trying to be in the QA arena with manual testing as like a given skill and automation skills that are necessary more, uh, for those of you looking at an industry or a career in software testing, this is a great platform. Are we all good with this? We have a quick agenda. I'm going to quickly walk through that. Okay, I've got this, and let's go to the next slide. JPACT. Okay, I don't think I did have a specific one there. Give me one quick second, everyone. Oops, I'm gonna minimize all of my. So team, while I'm doing this, there are a few poll questions that I want you to help me answer, please. Primarily, it's all about me trying to get an idea about who you are, where you are right now, and what you're looking at. Um, First question coming your way. It's about where you are in your software testing career, team. But 5 options there for you. So you're someone who's absolutely new to IT, or someone who's been in IT, but more like training and so on. You got a QA training done, or you're working as a software test engineer or in automation QA. So those are your options. So want you to please take a minute and fill one of them. I'm sorry, I guess I was on mute and I've been asking a few questions. I did run that earlier poll, and I was speaking about it. I'll go back to that poll question. And team, please put your answers, responses in the GoToWebinar window, please. You have the choices to click on there. So team, another 10 seconds, please, just where you belong from. This should be a pretty straightforward, just to know how the audience is spread out for us. All right, I've got about 80% votes plus, so I'm going to quickly close this. And here are the results. So a major portion of you are from the US. I do understand the remaining 20% almost from India and other countries. The biggest thing, team, that we're trying to do with this batch as we go along is have live sessions at different times. So this is something that I'm going to be working with you on this session today. Thank you so much for that poll. I'm going to quickly hide this. And here's one more, team. This is very critical because a lot of times we get members, we want the members who already with iTeLearn to participate. All right, that's back to the polls, team. Quickly close this, share with you what we have. So team, can you all see the results on your screen right now? This is the third poll that we did. I do have to share the first poll results as well. All of you can see the results on the screen, correct? So team, as you can see, about 28% of you are already members, almost about 40-70% of you are not yet. And that's something that we want to talk about, but this program is a little different. The reason is we have a lot of free content that's coming your way, and we really want to talk about that as well, team. The first poll results are these. Just wanted to share in case you didn't see it earlier. All right, back to our webinar as to what the agenda is and what we really want to accomplish in today's session. So team, while we talk about JPACT and what we're doing with iTeLearn, there are a few basic agenda items that we want to talk about. So the first, of course, we'll talk about JPACT and what the whole program is all about. We'll talk about iTeLearn in terms of how it's going to cover these specific trainings. When it comes to the specific trainings as part of the JPACT, the first basic level training that we're going to incorporate is going to talk a lot about manual testing and so on. And this is the free webinar that we're talking about. And then there's an advanced Selenium SDET/automation. Selenium training. Not the right words per se, but the whole aspect is how do you get there depending on where you are right now. We have to talk about the career option that we can do with, you know, the visa issues, with so many things. How do we do execute projects? How can you be part of an innovation team? So there are a few concepts, team, on how we can club as a force, as a unity, and be able to go and showcase that here is who we are, this is what we do. So that is something that we can talk about as well. So team, let's start with job placement and certified training as to what the program is all about, how the batch 8 is going to be a little different. Some of the things that are going to be very prominent is I want to do two batches, team. US morning and evening. It's actually one batch, but just two time slots where we get more possibilities. Instead of 90 minutes pure training that we do, we will follow it with a 90 minutes each day of your preparations. This preparations is right from coding all the way to resume. So you need to spend equal amount of time on these areas to become successful, because all the effort, all that we're doing, it is going to make a big impact, right? How do we make sure that we get results out of it? That is something we need to really focus on. Now, team, let's go back to the JPACT batch 8 as to what is JPACT all about. Very briefly, I'm going to talk about this, and then we'll focus a lot on the specifics of the training. So what we talk about it as a finishing school, wherever you are, how do you get that entire 360 degrees? See, for example, you can go to Udemy, you can go to YouTube. There are 1,001 trainers and tutorials that you can learn from. How do you put that? Who is ready to really look at what you learned rather than what did you do? JPACT is all about getting you into the doing habit, where you're working on projects, a more and more exposure that you get to actual real-time projects, nothing that is just fake or putting as per se to fill the resume, something very concrete. And that's how we should focus on. The core challenges that we've typically seen in the market is the gap. When I say gap team, what primarily happens is what you know from what the industry expects, not just technical skills, but experience, domain knowledge. Do you have the breadth of testing? Like, can you do the basics of performance or security or API, web services testing? Can you do backend testing? These become important questions sometimes. You never know. A job description might not say it all. So putting a metrics and comparing as to where you are, how you stand is the starting point. That gap analysis for each of you becomes very important. The next one is orientation and exposure team. When I talk about this, I'm meaning that I don't think we all get to see how real projects happen unless you are into it. It's not like we can sit in a remote atmosphere, not connect with the project, and still know, okay, this is how IT works. How do we get more and more exposure to different types of applications that are being developed and that consistently require testing? Right from startups which are launching these products, which requires immense amount of testing because they really love their products, all the way to the large organizations which feel that it's critical to show the testing is important, right? So that where do you have that orientation and exposure? That is very critical team. Guidance more comes from a platform, a program that is built specifically to make that happen. And for us, it's very simple team. All we are developing are SDETs. In our internal domains, we call that as NEOT certified testers and developers. And that we'll talk about. Sorry, I'm trying to write SDET here quickly. Okay, there you go. So SDET, software development engineer in test. These are the titles that we're building. Anyone in that QA graph, if you look at team, right from manual testing, okay, to begin with, maybe a little bit of backend or database testing, and functional automation regression testing, all of the performance, the complete suite of performance and security testing, all the way, it makes you an SDET, that you are a complete experienced professional in a lot of these things. But the primary role is that you know coding very well. How do you write programs? How can you look at it from a coding aspect? That's why it's called software development engineer in test. That role from a clarity perspective is not yet clear, team. And that's why that gap will still exist for us as to how do testers merge with SDETs. From developers, how do they come down to try and get into the execution of SDETs is one curve. How do we grow up that curve is also the other thing to look at. All good, team, with my audio and everything. I just had a few things there. Okay, last one, team. End of the day, who is it that who's going to look at your profile? What is it that you're going to showcase, team? I can't, let's say today I have 20 years into the IT industry. There's so much potential for me to show what I've done, what I've been in. I can really take one aspect, different domains. There are so many combinations of skills, tools, domains that you worked on, and what is it that you are really expert at? How do we put them? How do we qualify them? Just by saying that I'm good at this doesn't make any clarity into your CV or resume. You must be able to substantiate it. Where is your certification for it? Where is your course completion, or you attended a master's program? That is the minimal. But how about some project experience, which is the real world verification? This is going to be our core challenge, team. You learn anywhere, you do whatever you want. Just ensure you fill them all, team. You have to get it to your resume. All the hard work that you're putting in has to be finally linked to a good job. All right. Let's move on to the next slide. Let's see what happened. JPACT. So master program team, it gives you endless access to all that we do in iTeLearn. We focus a lot in terms of certifications and how we can build on that. We're going to talk about them. How you can be part of a lot of project works, especially on the automation testing platforms. How you can involve with our team. Um, as an intern, maybe 2 months, 3 months, maybe 2 weeks, some of you are flying. It takes time, team, but you have to spend time understanding the critical nature of deliverables. Oh my goodness, you should be part of this. um, stand-up meetings is still more warming because we know only we missed one day. But then when you have major deliverables like milestones of products, you should see the stress that these product companies go through. That will put a lot of emphasis on testing and how we have to equip ourselves. This is something we need exposure, keeping your hands very dirty into it. All right. So, team, from the perspective of what are the different phases, code training basically builds your skill. We take one skill at a time. Let's say HTML, JavaScript, or CSS basic level. Let's talk about programming like Core Java, C Sharp, or Python, and so on. Let's talk about automation tools like Selenium, Anyot, Catalog, or HP UFT, or not HP anymore, but Micro Focus UFT. How do we put them that knowledge into you? Oh, you know how to work with this tool, this specific skill. So your core training could be on any platform. It could be on multiple of technologies. So you could have multiple divisions on it as to how you go about. But after that comes your certifications and live projects. Out here, the main purpose is how can we put some credibility back into whatever you learned, your resume, how do we put that forward? How do you attend interviews? How do you take it? How do you present yourself? How do you finish and yourself in terms of being a very fine, nice candidate into the world of testing there? How do you fit in there? That's something that we focus in terms of finishing and grooming. As part of this, one of the new webinars that we're doing is the free work from home webinar team. It basically will make us better engineers wherever we work from. If we're able to do some good work sitting at home, if we can get to a workplace at that time, I think we'll do better work. So that discipline in a structured way with checklist on, yes, we're very effective. So these kind of things, the basic etiquettes of working in the IT industry, this you need an exposure team. And this comes either from experience or it comes from a structured program that talks about it. The last and most important thing, team, that we all need to really um, highlight in terms of the way we look at is job placement and work support. And team, I really want to talk about the multiple opportunities that we have in today's world. Where all can we work? Let us say you are in US or you're in India, doesn't matter where you are. You're either working on site at a client location, okay, or you're working offshore or offsite at a delivery center, or you could be someone who's working remote. Now, just a fair question, team. If we do a apples to apples comparison, let's say when I talk about the structure, okay, let me finish this remote. When I say on site, what are we talking about? Anywhere between, I'll talk about US rates, 45 to about, let's say about $80 an hour. That's a good rate. Okay, 80 is a great rate. Offshore, someone sitting in maybe Russia, India, Philippines, who know testing, similar skills could be anywhere between 20 all the way to, let's say, about $50 an hour, depending on architect level and so on. All right. This is the kind of cost that gets incurred. You are there for 8 hours, you're there for 2 hours, doesn't matter. It is basically based on a T&M, time and material. How much time, how much material is delivered. And that is one model, team. And then come the other models of, what is the other model? Anyone is aware? How we bid for software projects, how we get them. I've been in the IT industry for a very long time, almost 15 years as a client partner, account manager who knows the technology, delivering this. What is FNP? Anyone? Fixed price, not FNP, FP. So these are the different models team. Fixed price means for a project, I say that I will pay, let us say $120,000. Or T&M, I'll say I need 3 resources working offshore for about 2 months. And maybe about 2 people on site, that kind of a structure. How many people in the first case? What are the deliverables that we need to deploy in the next case? That is how it's structured team, TNM and FP. Is everyone with me? I don't see any interruptions or questions. All going okay? Because I'm going to introduce you to how the IT industry is going to shape up team. Are you all with me? Can I get a nod? I see a few messages. Yes, thank you so much for responding back. Let me quickly look at attention ratios. There's a new amazing thing within GoToWebinar. I've been trying for the last 1 year. So out of only 5-6% of you are not attentive, where your screen is away from my screen. Thank you so much for being there. I'm going to make it worthwhile, team. So let's talk about something very, very critical out of this. I'm going to take a different color now. All right. Do I have a red? All right. So now in the whole layers or chains, we have a client, we have a tier 1 vendor, the one who has the actual contract. Then there's a tier 2 who's actually putting all the requirements on Dice, Monster.com, Career Builder, that here's the requirement and so on. Then maybe we have a tier 3 or the actual engineer who's going to be working. So as it trickles down team, what may client be giving as 100? I'm just taking some rounded numbers to give you the figure. The tier 1 is saying that, you know what, I'll give it at 70. And the tier 2 is actually giving it at, let's say, 50. And then it's coming down finally at about $40 to the candidate. And do you think, team, and just say yes or a no, this kind of a difference where the actual value of the product to the deliverable is high or no? Is this a fact in the industry or no? Just say yes or no to this question, team. How do you think organizations, and I'm talking about the top Indian IT organizations, be it the TCS, Infosys, and so on. Now, this is a model for on-site. Let's imagine a same model in a similar way for offshore. Maybe the client is paying only $50. All right. Now, tier 1 vendor out here is actually direct. It's coming directly. Let us say it comes to about $40. Now, how much is it that is getting paid to that consultant offshore? Let's talk about that. I don't think anything more than $7 to $8 an hour, team. I don't think. To give you how the calculations are done, I'll tell you the perspective. Okay. How many working days in a month? Anyone know? This is what we do in estimation. 21, right? Times 8 hours per day. It's about 168 hours per month, team. Billable hours. Times 2016. Oops, 2016 is total. 168 times 12 is 2016 hours. That's the total per year billable. Let's talk about $8. And today the dollar is more than 70 from an Indian rupee. So I'm taking that as a standpoint. That's about almost 11 lakhs plus as a salary, team that is coming in. All right. So you can see the amount of difference that can get generated in these models. The biggest thing is, how do you prove yourself? How do you really get to prove yourself so that you are hanging at least somewhere in between, somewhere where there's some kind of a justice nicely done. And that all these models are about Uberization, team. All I'm saying is, do not just limit to yourself to full-time work. There are other opportunities that will come your way. Build your profile nicely. There are good things that can happen. Okay. And one plan that I'm planning with my JPACT members is to team up as a group, as a gang, and talk about what we can do as a team, because there's amazing deliverables we all can do as a team, and that's how we can involve into assignments like this. All right, let me quickly move on. So we spoke about this. There's a lot of assistance that we need. We need guidance on different levels. Um, Job support once you get there, how to prepare your resume, you able to understand how interviews happen, just not walking in for a big surprise. If you're someone in the beginning, groom you, talk about the trainings and placements. We spoke about all these concepts. Here's the main skill set as to what we will do in the training team, and this is very, very interesting for you to know. As a member of iTeLearn, you will get exposure to all the different programs that we will do, team, especially JPACT members. You have exposure. So that gives you the ability to do constant IT learning. Some of these courses at the bottom are still kind of coming in, but the other courses right at the top, they're all present for you to learn anytime. But what we are doing is live instructor based training is are these main topics, team, and that's what we've been repeating for ages. I've been doing almost about, let's say, 15 batches a year. I would have done easily about 150 batches on QTP and Selenium, team, together put together. The whole concept is to get your core right, your resume right, your experience right. There's no question you will get a job. How do we build it? There are 4 levels to a team in terms of subject training. Manual testing is a big focus. And this is the one that I want to talk about, how we will help you with a free training overall. So this portion is something I want you all to get exposed to. Is it something of a marketing gimmick or something from our side? No, we just want you all to look at how we do training, experience us, why these fundamentals are so important for you to get started. Unless you take them and apply into something that the market requires, like a Selenium and other automation tools, there's not much that we can put that to use. But you spend time in getting the basics started. And then you go into understanding how we build frameworks, how we incorporate programming languages, and then choose how we get into SDET. If you are at the section 1, your chances for getting a good job are slim. If you're getting to the next sections, they get brighter. Just Selenium IDE, WebDriver, few commands won't help. If you can do a little bit basic programming with frameworks, that'll be great. If you can go all the way, that's amazing, SDET. So if you look at from a billing perspective, anywhere, if I say on site, from $20 for just a manual tester, sure, because at the very beginning, to about $80 an hour for an SDET. That's the career profile you're looking at, team. So don't think that manual testing is any more a job which may not get you more. Even a Java programmer may still end up with $60 an hour. Believe it on a team. If you can get to that SDET zone, then it will. This is a program that will take you all the way there. It will take you all the way till that extent. But then, if I just stick to one program, like I want to learn Selenium or manual testing or what is SDET, it will not fit in team. How can you learn what is DevOps like Git or Jenkins Maven if you can't really get through these zones? Tell me. It's going to be such a theoretical answer, right? And that's what we want to question about. How can we build that skill rightly? That's the whole program all about, team. Any questions so far? I just have a few more slides, not too many, and then open it up for questions, team. So far, so good, everyone? Right. So, team, before we continue, there's a couple of good points that have come up. Why do the big customers pay that big difference that we saw in the dollar tree, where it trickles down to bits and pieces? There's a lot of buffer in it. There is a lot of bench cost. There is infrastructure cost. There is regular administrative cost. There is management cost to it. When all this gets added, it is absolutely critical. What I am trying to get to is, if we build the right skill and the right profile, And if we can avoid some of these layers and work directly, just think of it like a Uber thing, team. Think of it like Uberization. There's a lot of value that can be added as long as our basics are right. So for the risk management, it's almost like paying 70% insurance premium for $100 product. That doesn't make sense. All right. So now let's see. What do we have? Certifications, live projects I spoke about. This is something that we really keep pushing, be it the recognized ISTQB certification that, or the Oracle OCJP or OCJA certifications, all the way what you need from our internal NEO certifications. Live projects, if you don't have at least 3 projects on your resume, who's going to look at it and who's going to call you for interviews? We have plenty of projects that we're working on, team, in-house projects, client-based projects. This is a great opportunity for you to be part of these teams in a very dynamic environment. You will learn a lot. You will really be able to showcase. You will be so confident in your interview. There is nothing for you to think outside of what you went through for the interview. If you do not know anything, you'll say that this is how you learn things. But then whatever you know, you'll talk from a very practical perspective. So, a couple more points, team. NEOT certified tester and NEOT certified developer. So, I'm assuming, team, I don't know how many of you would be aware of NEOT as a tool. Um, I'm going to quickly maybe run it through that. So, team, here's the website, neot.com. It's a product of Verkasa, and we've kind of built this with a great intent in mind. How can we build a reusable or test automation framework? We've built a web-based UI, a front end, with the Selenium backend team. All this is put together to let you write test cases like a manual tester does, but we will be able to do some amazing automation runs. So all this logic, how it has been built, how we go about it is structured into the platform. So each of you can actually join this with a free account, sign up, be able to log in and start using the application. You also have the earlier sessions that were recorded to teach you on NEOT, so you understand what happens once again. So there are about 7 sessions, team, in this that you can go through at your leisure. This is primarily how we will get started. So what is it that they will do, team? And I'm going to tell it verbally, I'm not really talking about it. It will make you one of the very good experts at manual testing. How do you write test cases? How do you do a great coverage of testing? Ensure that the application is well covered. Be it automation or manual, doesn't matter for the end customer. The product is defect free or not is what is very critical. How do we identify, reproduce, report defects, and then again retest them before we can deploy them to productions? How does that happen? How can we identify elements? And that's a big thing, team. Elements are a key thing to automation. Like in HP, QTP, UFT, or Microfocus, it was objects. We talk about elements. You need to learn things like descriptive programming. We have to identify these elements using XPath, CSS, class, ID, name, link text, partial link text, so many ways, about 7, 8 ways that you can identify. How can you master them? How do you run this test, be it from Selenium IDE or this is Selenium IDE or Catalan or NEOT? How do this test run? So by the time you finish this 7, 8 hours or 10 hours program, last time I said it'll be 5 hours program, it went on to become 7 hours, team. So now I said it'll be 7 hours, but safely I said this is going to be a 10 hours program. And this is live training, which will take you right from how do we write a test case? Why is a test case essential? What are application and test, regression cycles, releases, understanding these tools, all the basics. Any certified developer will take it to the next level, team. You understand a lot about automation in a big way. You know what frameworks will work under what circumstances, how we can write or design frameworks. You know coding well enough to be able to at least maintain the framework, to be able to make some customizations for the client. Say they want to do something specific, as this is how they want to clean up the test before or prepare the test and then execute the tests, and then after, how do they report. That's a whole structure of customizations they could do. When we go through this training stream, you'll quickly realize that one of our biggest intent is to get you into that NEOT certified tester zone. An NEOT certified tester who's gone through this training has taken a test that will talk about your fundamentals and has worked with us on a project, simple project. And our intent is to get you certified team that you can really represent and talk about what the certification is. And once you get through this, I want you to move into the NEOT certified developer. So at this time, for all the audience and students who've been maybe first time exposed to me as Karthik from iTeLearn, do note team, for me, from a fee standpoint, I don't really want you to focus on. Let us say you don't pay anything, year zero. If you really need to get a job, this someone will charge you a hefty fee here. Doesn't matter. So don't go behind what is free and not. Look at the subject that you'll get, the experience that you can put on the resume, and take it all the way through a team. Okay, it cannot just stop with learning. How many people around you have been learning? How many people have been actually be able to get the job? Why? Most of the time, 95% the skill is not right. They don't have the right skill even to showcase on the resume. That is very important. Unless you have the right team to guide you, we cannot develop that. Your whole thing is, if you want to get into software testing and go in the route of automation, this is a great platform to see if you're comfortable. The reason I'm pushing more and more of free trainings on this team is we are getting a lot of exposure and a lot of projects. Once we're able to build something like this, about 100 of us sitting wherever we are, if we're able to do a little bit of ACT and ASCD jobs, we have some great things going, team. That's the biggest intent, and that's why I'm very keen to promote this JPACT 8. For me, if you join as a free student or if you join as a JPACT member, will be more pertinent in terms of your involvement and what we will do after that, team. Everyone, I see some of you are moving on the screens. I hope you're not searching for anything on the web that I can help you with. Let's get into Q&A, team. I think we've spoken about these. So your ASCT training is what I'm saying is free. So that is something that I will take you through. So if you don't know manual testing, if you're new to it, need to really learn how these things work, this is a great platform that we're starting next week for you. Certified developer is very intense. We go deeper. This is something which is the next level for you. So unless you do this, you can't get into the next. So keep that in mind, team. All right, what do we have? We spoke about finishing and grooming. We spoke about job placement and work support. When I say work support, the primary agenda is very simple. It is not easy, team. With confidence, let's say you put your resume, you get your job, interview call, you attend it, and you're placed into it. It's going to be tough first couple of weeks. Yes, everyone, it's going to be tough, not easy for you to survive there. I'm sorry, absolute, especially if it is your first job, right? And that's where we want to be available as a group, as a team that constantly does support for us. Okay, that helps us out, guides us as to what we can do next, and so on. We're gonna really work on how we can build a team atmosphere, team. Learn together, work together, be able to deliver things together. All right, next one. Teaching methodology, nothing much. Q&A. So team, how does it go from a schedule perspective? So iTeLearn, like I said, team, we've been there for 10 years. I've done, I can't say, over 100 plus batches on automation testing. And if you add the other trainers, we would have done more. We know our stuff, team, and we've built tools like NEOT. We're more of the creative backend engineers who love to sit at home, maybe research what's next. The next wave of NEOT that will come, we want to incorporate a lot of machine learning and the artificial intelligence capability. It gets smarter. Test case writing will be easier. Test case execution will be faster. So this thing is something that is very unique to Verkasa Inc., our incorporation in the US, the JPACT, iTeLearn, and NEOT. all of them purely focused on automation team. Now, for those of you who earlier attended our work from home uh, webinars, I've asked you all to register on qaonair.com. So thank you so much for all of you registered. From that list is what we're screening and going through. So we have a lot of freelancers who've registered team. Some great profile. We're going to tweak on this. Find freelancers. The core important aspect team that's for you is on QA on air or no does not matter. But please be part of this free NEOT certified training. If you are able to go through this ASCT with me, you pay or not, you do a wonderful job. We may have some lovely job opportunities team. So please focus on that. This on-site, offshore, work from home, remote, part-time, full-time, all these things will shape up. Just get your skills together. So team, I'm towards the Q&A. Any questions, let me know. I would love to have you, if you, any of you have a question that you want to speak out, I'm going to put all the hands down to begin with. You could raise your hand and I'll unmute you to speak your question as well. That'll be more interesting, team. Speak your question, that'll be easier. If you cannot, then put in chat. You're most welcome to do that. Raise your hand on GoToMeeting, GoToWebinar if you have a question. Team, I'll take a few questions from the chat first, and then I will answer the questions from the audience who have the hands raised. So is this a paid training? Like I mentioned, the almost half of the training that's a beginner is free because I want you to experience what it is all about. It's a great time for you at that time to choose between the different options. I have 7+. I'm reading another question, team. I have 7+ years of experience in manual testing. Awesome. Join JPACT is good, or taking automation training is good. So, Sushma, I would want you to just take automation Selenium training, a little bit of CI/CD, DevOps, SDET, that package. That's fine. But then, how do we get your live project experience? And then again, you have to upgrade to it. So it's a constant thing. It's going to be very minimal in terms of what we know. We have to put it together as a work experience. So that's why JPACT is preferable. If you're shortage of time, you know that you just have to learn so that you have to go and implement something in the job, then yes. All right. Team, I have about dozen plus questions, almost 100 of you in the webinar right now. I just want to make sure that I give each of you the right time. I have Kalpana. You unmuted.
Happy birthday.
I think, I don't know, there's a lot of noise at Kalpana's end. And I want to change. Let's see, Saroja, did you have a question? Hello.
Hello. No, I don't have any question. Now, how much is the price for the course?
Saroja, so for this, I will advise you to go to iTeLearn.com. You'll see the
Okay.
pricing section. The team will also send you that. But right now, just get yourself focused on starting the NEOT certified test to the free training. So then
Okay.
you can look at the other aspects. All right.
Yeah. Thank
But
you.
everything will be on the website. If you go to
Okay.
iTeLearn.com, you'll find all the details. So you'll see a pricing page somewhere that'll give you everything. Thank you. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Mhm. 1 second. There you go. Hi, Sonal, you had a question for me?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, so I have some manual testing training, and as well as I did some automation testing training as well. But
Sure.
I really don't know that
Yes.
much about automation. So I think I'm trying to apply for some jobs, but
Yes.
I'm not getting any jobs. So that's why I need to enhance my skills. I feel like that.
Yes, I think, see, if I go to dice.com or Monster or any of these websites, right? And
Hmm.
I live in Los Angeles, and if I just search for Selenium, there's so many jobs that are coming up. Now, what happens is the competition is a lot. So
Hmm.
the consulting companies can't even look at each resume. So for each of these positions, they'll get about anywhere between 150 to 300 submissions
Hmm.
minimum. Okay. When they get such submissions, they will filter it on the folder level itself. So your resume is very important, Sonal. How you
Right.
have project, what keywords we have, how do we present it. Once we get the interview call, your resume is selected, then you have a chance. So your resume is more important.
But
And
I have a
Mhm.
training, but I have no any real life experience. That is the main concern for me. Uh,
I hear you. So Sonal, that's why what we are doing is we've been training as IT learn for a very long time. Over the last 3 4 years, we've been moving into product development and consulting. That I was talking about NEOT and what this product does, right?
right,
Now, when you take these projects that you do as part of our team in JPACT, then you're able to showcase them and talk about them. So your resume should talk about it, and then once you go to the interview, we can talk about it. For example, the simplest things that IT Learn students do right now is this dashboard, where they talk about how they're part of this project of developing such a framework called NEOT. The second thing that they do is how they use this tool to test a lot of client projects as part of what we get. So once we get this plugged in, then it is makes sense. So training, learning is one aspect, which you can get it from Udemy also for $10 or free from YouTube. But how do we structure it into your profile and get you the work experience? That is the only thing that is key.
right.
And out of these trainings that we spoke about, you remember I was talking about the two main trainings, NEOT certified tester and developer. First one is free. So even with this, I'm confident there are jobs maybe we can find. I'm sure that as we go through the advanced training, there's a lot that you learn. Let's talk about job markets. How do we get employment? That is very important.
Right.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, Sonal, thank you. If there's a question, please raise your hand again. Sushma,
Yeah. Hi, Karthik.
hi, how are
Uh,
you?
I'm good. How are you?
Very good, thank
I have a question like if I'm joining a JPACT, I'll be getting an exposure to multiple automation tools, right? Like UFT, performance, security.
That's correct. So, as JPAC member, you have the honor to attend any live webinars that we're having or look at the videos. So, you have the access. Okay.
Okay.
So,
What is
now
the exact duration of this JPACT? I mean, how many months it'll take or
it
how
takes
it
about
is?
3 months overall. It takes
Okay.
about 4 to 6 weeks for the core training. While you're doing the core training itself, we'll start with some project work. It takes about 6 to 8 weeks of project works. And then you're required to do all your mock interviews. How do you do your resume screening, applying for jobs, all that. At least 3 months. If you're starting with someone who's spending about 3 to 4 hours a day, can finish it in about 1.5 2 months, but it will take about 3 months, team. If you know your subject, there are fast track programs like Sonal or some of the other members earlier who have already working in QA can just prefer to do the automation training, which will happen in parallel with the free ASCT, which you can skip a bit some of it, and then get on with the other part of project work. So there's fast tracks as well.
Okay, okay. In that case, I have experience in manual and I've been working for 7.5 years.
Mhm.
So it would be easy for me to skip the manual part and go directly for the automation and as well as this
Right.
any developer training and all.
Absolutely, yes. But what I will do is when I'm finishing the ASCT, right, about 7 to 10 hours of training, I'm saying during the
Mm-hmm.
end, I'm going to do summary sessions. What did we cover overall? We will
Okay,
start with those sessions, then we'll get into the Selenium advanced portions. Now, parallelly, I'm going to be doing two batches. One batch which will start with the basic, other batch on Selenium. So my Selenium trainings I'll start every month. So they will be starting with assuming that manual testing.
okay, okay, okay.
All
Fine.
right.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Thank you, Sushma. I have Mehul. I have you unmuted.
Yeah, hi Karthik. First of all,
Hello.
thanks for arranging session.
Thank you for
Yeah.
joining.
So my name is Mehul, and I have a 10 years experience in manual testing
Mhm.
and test management. Especially worked in Salesforce and Siebel, but currently I have few years gap. As I moved here on dependent visa in the US. So
Okay.
I wanted to learn or I wanted to focus more on the automation because finding a
Right.
job due to the visa or a couple of constraints.
Yeah.
So so if so once we complete the training, we will be the part of a live project on a day-to-day basis, right?
That is absolutely right. So our projects are where you are interacting with your team members,
Mm-hmm.
right from your stand-up meetings, your agile scrum calls,
Mm-hmm.
to all the way to interacting with them offline on Skype and WhatsApp or whatever. We use Trello, Jira, reporting, a lot of things into it, and a lot of paid tools as well. These are projects which have very clear deliverables.
Oh, fantastic! I'm a
Yes.
certified Scrum Master.
Amazing, Mehul. And we're working luckily with some larger customers with big logos and big uh,
Mm-hmm.
existing applications, that new applications being built by them, and all the way to startups who have some amazing thoughts. So that exposure that you'll get is going to be immense. And Mehul,
Mm-hmm.
just to answer you, for all of you who have got that experience in software testing manual, and automation is a world that we all know that we will get to in some stage, in some way, because of the
Yes.
future that we see. This AnyOrt that is built, this highlighted section right now, Web UI, is your manual testing,
Okay.
where we are able to maintain all our test artifacts, write our test stories,
Mm.
scenarios, users cases, and say what is it that we want to test. This engine here that we see, the core engine in number
Yeah,
2 in the
core in.
architecture diagram, that is built using a lot of strong programming framework concepts. How do we apply it? So, oh, I see, how did this web UI get transitioned to this logic, so it's able to execute some steps and get some great reports. That is our transition. So this AACT training basically is covering all the test management. How do we write test cases? How do we maintain reports, traceability metrics? All that we will get exposed to in this free AACT training. Once we
Okay.
finish this, then we'll go very deep into this. While we are doing Selenium training, we're learning all this. You have a great option to work with the AnyOrt development team, which is the backend team. So right now, our production is orange. We have a peach model that is in development, and
Mm.
there's a new version that we're planning as well. So a lot of lab initiatives that you could be part of, that you work as a freelance team, and that's how we're building our capability. Amazing skill sets that people have shown how they've learned and how they can develop these products.
Excellent, Karthik. Excellent. I'll be very happy,
Thank you, Mehul.
and I will put as much as I can.
Yes, I think it is about involvement. And
Yeah.
let's see, because see, it's not fair. You're already 9.5, 10 hours out for work. You come back, you have, let's say, 1.5 hour training, and then again an hour to coordination. But the flexibility is most of the people that you'll interact with will be in your own time zone. That's how we divide the teams. And you could do it on WhatsApp, Skype. Just keep organizing things, scheduling it.
Mm.
There's a thrill, there's an excitement in delivering those projects. And just letting you all know, team, the way we do live projects is a little different, the actual projects. So we split the group into about 3 to 4 groups, and each group or team will take the project and do it their way with the same
Okay.
instruction. And each of us come and present. So we see a lot of creativity, we see a lot of group learning, exposure, and how we can still deliver. You'll see a variety of things. So some of the teams do it basically simply using an automation tool like AnyOrt or Catalan. Some of them actually go and code and build a new framework. So this is pretty interesting when it comes to project works.
So everyone will have a different task on a day-to-day basis, in short.
So what we do, typically a team is between 7 to 10 members. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And within the team, we ask you to volunteer as to who wants to present this day, because we
Okay.
want everyone present as a round robin. Some of them play as a great BA, business analyst, and documentations and so on. Some of them are great in writing test scenarios. Some of them do all the way till DevOps and deployments and so on. So as a mixed bag, we work together.
Okay.
Each of us, we try and play the roles. So we'll have a mixed team. You all will not have the same skill set. So some of the team formations, you learn about who can do what. And
Okay.
these are very short release cycles, like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Things are getting really moving on with the application. So we are delivering. So we quickly learn things. So these are mini projects which get you a good exposure. And for some of you working on them in depth, you get a much more detailed thing.
Okay. Thanks, Karthik.
You're welcome, Mehul. So I'm taking a lot more questions on the audio, unfortunately not on the chat yet. I'll get back to the chat. I have one question, I believe, last one, Saroja.
Hi Karthik. So I am
You
new
have
to
questions
IT.
for
I
me?
don't know anything about like testing or anything. So how do you think this course will help me out? And also, like you said, we will work in live projects. So how about the software and everything? How do we do it from our system, or how do we get the software and do it?
Perfect, perfect, awesome. So, all right, Saroja. So let's look at it this way. All right.
Okay.
Most of the jobs or the systems that we're working on today's world are cloud based. So most of what we use are either open source or trial versions, which will let you learn and work from anywhere, number one. So do not worry in terms of software installations and so on. I am not saying it is going to be easy. Sometimes
Okay.
we can't even find a solution towards it, but we will
Mhm.
go through those hurdles every time installing Java runtimes or Eclipse or all these things. We all will go through those hurdles. We'll have issues, okay?
Okay.
But we as a team work together because we're moving forward, right? So
Yeah.
you will have the assistance from the other team members, our tech
Mhm.
staff to understand how we can move forward, keep moving forward.
Okay.
Second thing is in terms of wherever you are, in terms of entering to IT, when we're looking
Mhm.
at it, IT is a big ocean, as you know, and the more we wait, the more new things are coming into it. So where do we
Oh,
start?
okay.
My sincere advice: if someone can spend time and money towards very certified programs like the business intelligence side, data
Mhm.
scientists, data engineers, or machine learning, those programs are good career oriented. There are lack of jobs and proper people in that area. Now, software testing
Okay.
is a very crowded area. It's been there for almost 20 years, more strongly in the last 15 years. Now, with so many people in it who know that, hey, you know what, let's go to IT, manual testing is the easiest route, have come into it.
Okay.
And with so much competition and people having to learn new tools, we need to learn the latest one. So there's no point in you learning all the basics and old technologies. The most important latest ones. B is try and get you some certifications which tell that, okay, though you don't have maybe IT experience, you've got a skill on a tool, technology, programming that we can showcase, and some project experience that you've worked. How did you work on it? As a freelance contributor. It's an open source platforms. You've been working on these projects. And once you get to that discussions, we should be able to talk about them. What we are trying to do as part of JPACT is to club you all together as much as we can and get projects in house. But we want to prepare you in such a way that even if you go looking for in the market, how is the resume? How are our references for the project? What did we do? Are we even comfortable sitting in an interview and talking? We'll go through them.
Okay.
But
Okay.
one thing, it'll take a little longer. The first 2 weeks is typically the only challenging time for beginners in our training program, where, okay, is it too hard? Is it too soft? It look very easy as we keep going. You get used to, okay, files are in Google Drive, all the projects we have to finish there. The team is in Skype. Just coordinate. It's a nice moving platform.
Okay. So this JPAC program is like minimum it will take 3 months to finish and depending on our contribution too. But within this time frame, how many projects do are we like,
Three
will
projects, at least three projects.
okay.
Okay. One will be definitely, I want to see how you all perform as a backend engineer in the NEO development. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So that you're working on developing this product. There are multiple jobs in it. You will get into that team for sure as a JPAC.
Okay.
Second is using NEO. There are customers that we have that we need to do implementations. Okay. The
Mm-hmm.
projects that
Okay.
have been going on for long, you will be part of that in understanding them. If you're able to show your capability a little bit and a lot of dedication, you can really work and deliver it. The third project is a variable, because as we keep getting, sometimes it could be web services API testing, performance and security testing, it could be mobile app testing like OTT and so on. We will keep it. So there's a nice distribution in your profile.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Welcome, Saroja. So, team, a lot of questions I hopefully have must have answered that have come from the chat, also in the Q&A that was going on with the audio. If there are questions that I could answer again, if I missed it in the chat and it's not answered, can you kindly take a second and put it back again for me, so I don't have to go back to the dozens of questions earlier and read them all? All right, team. So all the ones who put a question in the chat, if your question is not answered, please put it back again, post it again. Thank you. I'll come to that. So I'm taking one more call before I get to the questions here. Shilpa?
Yes. Hello,
Hi.
Karthik.
Hello, how are you?
After this 10 years demo course, how I have to join to that live project course?
Sorry, Shilpa, your voice a little low and little. Try
Uh,
again.
af- After this 10 hours demo course, how I have to join to that live project course?
That's correct. You don't have to I don't want anyone to decide right now. The reason is very simple. If you want to, you could. Lot of members are already pre-enrolling for JPACT 8 batch. Okay. But once you do the free training, there are two things that will happen. You will know if you're able to do justice in the IT industry, and we
Okay.
will know if you're someone that we could take and train you, that we can get some job opportunities together. Okay. So it'll work both ways. So join this free initial training. Then you
Okay.
can make your decision.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Okay, who do I have next? Thank you so much, team, for your patience. I'm going to take the questions on the chat for now. I'll come back to a few more questions. By this course, could I able to do live project? Oh, yes. So that I've answered. That's the whole point, team. We have project works coming in because of our how we are presenting ourselves in the market. If you look at our corporation team, the main organization, Varkasa.com, it talks about us being a software test automation company. That is what we are, team. We are all about software test automation. We have a training division that is through iTeLearn, some prime courses like JPACT. We have our own in-house automation tool that is complete end-to-end for regression testing. We also have our consulting platform of QA on air. So that's our focus area, and that is why we really feel that this is the community that we want to belong to and grow in. All right, so all your live projects will be associated because of these project works that we're getting. But team, do know when we get into these projects, there are a couple of things that will happen. One, you'll sign an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement that talks about that you cannot leak information. There are lot of issues, team. Most of the projects that we're doing are working on VM, virtual machines, and we have to go through securities and access codes to be able to log into them. But then preparatory works, a lot of that preparatory works of testing can be done offline. So please be geared up for that. I'm taking another question from chat. Do we already have any QA people started with work from home opportunities at this moment? If yes, how does it look? Okay, Ashish. So team, thank you so much for all of you who applied for the work from home. We had to really go through that. So for those of you who did not get contacted, please don't lose hope. We hope to get a lot more opportunities. Just stay in touch. I'm not saying leave everything and depend on us. We've closed 3 opportunities on work from home last week. We closed about 2 or 3 before that week. There are people who starting, almost 2 or 3 who are starting on these opportunities every week. The one we started this week, team, are on mobile application testing. People who specifically had that device-based testing, how they can look at the logs of the devices, see how the applications run, because a lot of performance and security related testing. There's a phase 2 post the launch that may come up, and hopefully depending on how many students that when I say students, how many users they're adding to the end user base, they will require more testing. That testing specifically had to be done in the US as an actual devices, and we have to show the log files and so on. So um, yeah, so we have some of this, and that's why I'm more and more confident. I'm not saying that since we had about 5-6 closures this month in October, we'll have maybe 10 closures next month. But the trend is good, the movement is good. If we can team up correctly, I think we can do justice. Will we learn ISTQB foundation course? I wouldn't teach it live, but I will schedule it as a program. Maybe I don't know if it will be part of that AACT training or not. All right. How can we do that for the ISTQB foundation? Is ISTQB free into this? I don't think so, team, yet. But again, see, once we finish this, it'll take 7-8 hours anyway. And then ISTQB may take a different wing, and Shankar is amazing at it. He will get you through it. How can we put any project in a resume? There are 100 people put the same project. Team, here's the thing. You are part of any project has been going on for the last 3.5 years, team. At peak, we had about 35 people working on this project at many angles. There are right now currently about 17-18 people who are using this actively to deploy client engagements. It will keep happening. It will keep happening. AnyAuth is a program. On AnyAuth, there are at least about 20-30 projects that people have been working on. So AnyAuth is not just one tool. AnyAuth is a platform using which we are testing many client applications. Okay, like we say Selenium or UFD and so on. And then there is the core team members who are working on building and maintaining AnyAuth as well. How to join AnyAuth team? So joining the AnyAuth development core team in the back end will take a little bit more. So you have to complete at least 1 or 2 live projects internally where we know how good you are with your skill, and then it's easy. We actually pick people and we move them. You don't even have to come to us. So we get you the NDA, we sign you, we get you into the project development then. Will I learn automation? Okay, this is a question. Will I learn writing automation scripts in AACT course, or will be using record and play option? Okay, that's a good question. I don't think you learn coding, if that's the question. You'll not learn programming as such. You learn how to do it in Selenium IDE. Record and run, even in Selenium IDE, is just 20% of it. How do you identify the elements? How do you do it without record and run? There is a lot. But yes, it is correct. In the free training, you will not learn immediately the coding. Okay, it will get gradually to it. And there's a lot to cover. About 40 hours in total, team, about lectures that you need to go through. Just imagine. So there's a lot to cover. Can I ask about live projects? Yes. Does iTeLearn have live projects on a series of questions of mobile apps? Yes, we do. ETL testing, not right now. Web services testing, yes, but that is filled up, which we are already working on. I do have a couple of offshore positions for SOAP UI, but in Hyderabad, based out of our location that we do have. The client is very insisting they want them to work out of Hyderabad, out of our location. Otherwise, I would have pushed for work from home team. Do we take any certification test? Devika, yes, you do. But once we go through the training and you do a little bit of practice on it, then you take a test and do a project assignment, you get your certification. So far, I believe even not all the JPACT members have got the certification. We've released about 120 or 130 of them, team. And I would want you all, to build your LinkedIn profile, to connect with me on LinkedIn. Have you all if you're not team, please connect with me on LinkedIn. And team, I know patiently you all been listening in. You've been waiting for me. Give me another 5 minutes to wind up. I'm going to take last few questions, and most of the part of it is done, but it's just Q&A that's going on right now. Let's see. There's a big question. I'm going to read this. I've done few trainings and live projects, but still not able to get a job. Don't have any visa issues. That sounds so much like a lot of my students, Bhavna, just letting you know. Okay, continuing, but still not able to get a job. I usually get a call by the time I tell them that I am a freelancer, they will say, we will send you the details. Okay, in mail. Mhm. And that mail never shows up. So this is interesting. I really like this message team. If it's okay, I just want to put it up into text so people can read also what I'm reading. And let's see. All right. So that's the question team. It's a tragedy. And Bhavna, you're not the first one or only one. We've all been through that. And some people have been smart of using the right words. Some we learn by losing one interview call, but some by experience. The do's and don'ts. I think that is where when we come to the finishing and grooming, where we talk about it. And see, is it a freelancer or not? What's a freelancer? You've been part of these projects. Just that you can mention you've been working remote. Will that solve their doubt? I don't know. It is always going to be there. That question is going to be there. There's nothing going to be assured. If we can learn combined tools like, I don't know, how do I push you into AI machine learning if because there's so much of people that are required there. But then if you don't know the basics of automation, AI and machine learning also won't make sense. These are all stepping stones. So it is absolutely the true problem. We have too many people in the market. How do we know who is what? Some of these questions easily let us discard. And that is where I'm saying maybe we need to go as a team approach rather than individually with freelance experience. Okay, that's a big question. So I wanted to definitely share it with you all. Does iTeLearn have, okay, that I answered. I answered that. For how much time do we get any free trial? Any orange version is free team. Don't worry. Even for all the clients right now, we kept it free because there's a lot of data in it already. I missed the first part of the meeting. Yeah, the video will be there. No problem. A manual tester looking to learn automation. What will be the first step? So, I think, I'll just draft a quick email on this team, what each of us can do, some FAQs as well. We'll share it with you. This is something we've been doing for a long time. I'm sure we have the answers. I just want to make sure that everyone's is commonly answered. What is the first step if you're a manual tester? Like I answered, uh, you don't have to go through the free ACT training, just a summary of it. But you need to start with the Selenium training then, and then get into how we move it into the next level from there. There are a couple of more hands raised. I just want to see if there's a question. Parmesh, I'm trying to unmute you. And then the Saroja also. Did you have a question, Saroja?
Yes, Karthik. So I was just
Yes.
wondering if we miss a session like a live training session, so is it recorded or how do we catch
Yes.
up for that
All
session?
the sessions are recorded. Only the ones that you do internally with your team, right? Once you are part of the projects, that
Okay.
you have to manage it. Whatever we are doing as trainings or project works, will documentation, scripts, everything is available. It
Okay.
takes about
Yeah.
maximum 24 hours sometimes because we
Mhm.
have to upload it into a couple of servers and put it. Usually the team does it in about 2 to 3 hours.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions, team? All right, great. Then I look forward, everyone, to seeing you in the next session. It's going to be next week, the launch of the first few sessions. I'll hope to see you all soon then. Thank you, everyone. Bye then. Bye all. Thank you, everyone. Bye now.